He was just 12, enslaved, alone, uneducated. Yet, he solved a mystery that had baffled scientists, farmers, and powerful colonists for years. With no tools, no lab, just a blade of grass and a spark of curiosity, he unlocked the secret that made vanilla, yes, the vanilla in your cake, your ice cream, your perfume possible. But while the world tasted sweet success, he was left with nothing. No credit, no freedom. He changed the world, but died forgotten. This is the story of Edmond Albius, the boy who made vanilla bloom ** in the 1800s. On a small island in the Indian Ocean called Réunion, the air was thick with heat and silence. Among the sugar plantations and colonial estates lived thousands of enslaved people brought from Africa and nearby islands, forced to labor in brutal conditions. One of them was Edmond, a young boy, just 12 years old. He had no parents, no school, no last name of his own. The name Albius was given to him meaning white, a cold reminder of the cruel system that owned him. He lived under the control of a French botanist, Fariel Bellier-Beaumont. But Edmond had something they never expected, a restless mind. He watched the plants. He studied them. And among them, he saw the orchid that everyone talked about, the vanilla. Vanilla had come from Mexico, where it had been grown for centuries. There it bloomed and flourished naturally, but only because of a secret helper, the Melipona bee found only in that region, that knew how to pollinate its tiny flowers. When colonists brought the vanilla plant to Réunion and Madagascar, they expected riches. They had the soil, the sun, the vines, but not the bee, and without pollination, the flowers closed in a single day empty, unfruitful. Scientists tried. Botanists failed. No one could make the plant produce fruit. The answer was always just out of reach until Edmond stepped forward. With nothing but observation, instinct, and a steady hand, he tried something no one had before. He took a tiny stick. Some say it was a sliver of wood. Others say a blade of grass. He gently lifted the orchid's rostellum, a paper-thin membrane separating the male and female parts of the flower. Then, with his thumb, he pressed them together. That's it. And it worked. The flower was pollinated. The vanilla pod began to grow. A miracle had just happened. Not in a lab, but in a plantation field. Not by a scholar, but by a child. Soon, Edmond's method spread. Word got out. More flowers were pollinated. Then more. Plantation owners taught others. Production exploded. Réunion became a center of vanilla cultivation. Madagascar followed. The technique worked anywhere. Even today, almost 200 years later, farmers still use Edmond's method by hand, flower by flower. But while the vanilla trade blossomed, Edmond's life did not. He was given no money, no title, no patent. His name was rarely spoken in the circles. That profited from his genius. Some tried to recognize him. Fariel, his former master, publicly credited him. But it wasn't enough. He was still a former slave in a world that didn't see him as equal. Later, when slavery was abolished in the French colonies in 1848, Edmond gained his freedom, but not a future. He tried to find work. He struggled with poverty. He was once imprisoned for theft, though some believe it was a misunderstanding, a result of his desperation. He died in 1880, penniless, unknown, alone, and yet his fingerprint was everywhere. In every scoop of vanilla ice cream, in every sweet-scented candle, in every perfume bottle, lining the shelves of Paris. The world had taken the fruit of his genius, packaged it, profited from it, and moved on. But not once did it return the favor. For decades, Edmond's story was barely remembered. No statues, no textbooks, no parades, but history as a way of finding its voice. Slowly, over time, researchers uncovered his role, his technique. his life. Today, there is a plaque in Réunion honoring Edmond Albius. There are streets named after him. Museums tell his story. And slowly, the world has begun to say his name again. That Edmond, that the boy who changed the fate of an entire industry. Child who saw what no scientist could. He may have been born into bondage, but his mind was free. Free enough to notice, free enough to try, and brave enough to act. The next time you taste vanilla, remember, it didn't just come from a flower. It came from the hands of a boy who had nothing, but gave the world everything.